Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this holy space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Come now and let us worship together. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. Join me as together we remind ourselves of the affirmation that is a cornerstone of our free faith tradition. The words, should you need them, will be on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. When we are engaged in acts of love, we humans are at our best and most resilient. The love and romance that makes us want to be better people, the love of children that makes us change our whole lives to meet their needs, the love of family that makes us drop everything to take care of them, the love of community that makes us work tirelessly with broken hearts. Perhaps humans' core function is love. Love leads us to observe in a much deeper way than any other emotion. If love were the central practice of a new generation of organizers and spiritual leaders, it would have a massive impact. If the goal was to increase the love, rather than winning or dominating a constant opponent, I think we could actually imagine liberation from constant oppression. We would suddenly be seeing everything we do, everyone we meet, not through the tactical eyes of war, but through eyes of love. We would see that there's no such thing as a blank canvas, an empty land, or a new idea, but everywhere there is complex, ancient, fertile ground full of potential. We would understand that the strength of our movement is in the strength of our relationships, which could only be measured by their depth. Scaling up would mean going deeper, being more vulnerable, and being empathetic. It is not your lot to weep, and you are not put here to suffer. To find value in suffering is to condemn yourself to hell. The spirit that created you would not have its children in pain. Wake up, arise, and go on your way with laughter in your heart. Wipe away your tears and life and live and love. You may explore every highway, byway, mountain, and valley of this world, and no matter how far you travel or how many years you search, you will come to this very conclusion. Life is for loving, joy, and celebration now. Give all to love, obey thy heart. Friends, kindred days, estate, good fame, plans, credit, and the muse, nothing refuse. It's a brave master, let it have scope, follow it utterly, hope beyond hope. It was never for the mean, it requireth courage stout, souls above doubt, valor unbending, it will reward, they shall return more than they were, and ever ascending.
Hello. So I am a collage artist, and I've recently read that collage is actually our first experience of the world. We see a little thing and another little thing, or maybe a big thing, and start to piece together what the world is. And of course, at the beginning of your life, you and the world are the same. There's not any distinction one to the other. But as you grow up, you see that there is you and that there is the world. And then the third step, where most of us are, is start to try to make meaning out of all of that. So I thought what we would do is make a collage together, little pieces of this or that, and see if we can make some meaning out of it. Actually, you get to make the meaning out of it. So this is the first little piece that I have, Bits and Pieces, a poem of my own. Bits and pieces, some of this and some of that. Some beautiful paper, an old map, lots of words that don't mean much, but I like the way they look, especially sideways, or with the paper torn. A color I've been saving for a while, a photo I copied of someone's family, not mine. Hard to tell if it's finished or done. Sometimes I just have to tell myself to stop and start on another. I put this one in a frame, someone wants to buy it. What does it mean, they ask. I just make them, I say. You say what they mean. So the pieces of a collage are called elements. And here's the first element. These are little pieces from my own journal of what made me happy on a particular day. A conversation with my granddaughter about school. At 14, she's smart as a whip and completely bored with her traditional school. We're doing classes at my house this year. We're planning several weeks about a pattern language, a book about building sacred community that doesn't have a religious sentence in it. And one more thing from perhaps our favorite artist, favorite poet, Mary Oliver. 1, don't bother me, I've just been born. 2, the butterfly's loping flight carries it through the country of leaves delicately, and well enough to get it where it wants to go, wherever that is, and stopping here and there to fuzzle the damp throats of flowers and the black mud. Up and down it swings, frenzied and aimless, and sometimes for long, delicious moments it is perfectly lazy, riding motionless in the breeze of the soft stalk of some ordinary flower. 3. The god of dirt came up to me many times and said so many wise and delectable things. I lay on the grass listening to his dog voice, crow voice, frog voice. Now, he said, and now, and never once mentioned forever. 4. Which nevertheless has always been like a sharp iron hoof at the center of my mind. 5. 1 or 2 things are all you need to travel over the blue pond, over the deep roughage of the trees and through the stiff flowers of lightning, some deep memory of pleasure, some cutting knowledge of pain. 6. But to lift the hoof, for that you need an idea. 7. For years and years I struggled just to love my life. And then the butterfly rose weightless in the wind. Don't love your life too much, it said, and vanished into the world. It's Mary Oliver, and it's called 1 or 2 Things. So what could you love about your life? This phrase is kind of squeezed into the narrative today. What is the storyline? What is the tale we tell ourselves and others? What is your narrative? This is a moment. You could speak your life like a bold adventure in this new moment that's unfolding right now. Our current political situation is unstable, and for many of us, unfortunate, unwieldy, unappealing, and we individually have very little power in the outcome. However, we can undertake some practices and tools that will reshape our day-to-day life and the lives of those near and dear to us. You are the chief of retelling your own story, the king or queen of your narrative. I do have a way for you to start. Again, element number 2, and this little writing is from my daily journal. The local murder of crows is more active than ever with cooler weather. This is from some new version of the Bible. Burnout doesn't come from hard times. It comes from not filling up. Romans 11, that says. So come with me today to fill up. This is a chancy time. The solid ground seems far away, way under us. Let's fill up together. What do you love about your life? What do you love about your life? What a question this week, huh? We have ridden the roller coaster of a presidential election, watched and worries as fires swept across acres and acres of land, battened the hatches for 4 or 5 hurricanes so far this year, and many other indignities. You notice I haven't mentioned the plague. And here we are in community. Well, kind of. I'm at my home office desk, which actually is my kitchen table, and you're wherever. But we're really not in community. We are spread all over the map, sitting with coffee or a cold drink, connecting via some technology that I don't understand. I did find this. Where you are, however unchosen, is the place of blessing. How you are, however broken, is the place of grace. Who you are in your becoming is your place in the kingdom. Another favorite writer of us, it's Rilke. So this is it. This is now. This is where. What could you love about your life? So this is from my journal. The earworm I got choosing the postlude for this service. That was from this week. Life these days is chancy, to say the least. I've been wanting some practice, some ritual to center me, especially at the end of the day, to pull me back to some equilibrium, some baseline, some equanimity for good sleep, and a refreshing start on another day. Like Scarlett said, tomorrow is another day. On January 3, 2019, my daughter died of acute myeloid leukemia at 47, after 10 plus months of chemo and hospitalization and transfusion and long stays at the hospital and a cell transplant. She left behind a loving husband and 2 teenage children and a grieving mother. That would be me. One night, I just began the practice of writing 5 things that made me happy. and posting it to my Facebook account. So just want to use it as an example and think about an exploration to make a difference in a small way in your own circle of friends. How to always be present to what you love about your life. Sometimes I think I might call it 5 times I encountered the divine today. But that's a little long and a little presumptuous. Who am I to say I encountered the divine? But then really, who else would say that but me? After all, the divine, the universal, the greater presence is in every slice of everyday life. Aren't we all connected? Doesn't what impact one of us impact the whole community? How many ways are there to say we're in this together? Goodness, truth, and beauty are waiting to be discovered, or they're pounding on your door so you will open it. Being awake is a practice, noticing and writing things down, anticipating that you'll notice something that's either ordinary or striking, is a profound and powerful way to live life. Now, I'm not talking about some key to positive thinking, not talking about putting a positive spin on everything. I'm really talking about a deeper transformation in your thinking, a transformation that is not so hard to attain and even easier to keep in place. Let's look for a moment at what constitutes our lives day to day. Here's an easy model, I think, that most of us can subscribe to, even if just for the next few minutes. Our lives are composed of the conversations we find ourselves in. Our families, our jobs, our friends, the TV we watch, the things we read or watch on the internet, other forms of conversation. If you could draw a chart of your life from childhood to today and could populate that chart with the people who mean the most to you, parents, teachers, friends, co-workers, spouses, partners, you would have a kind of map of what was important to you. Think about it for a minute. After childhood, where your choices are really limited, you can fill your time in your life with others who lift you up, challenge you, inspire you, love you, or take another choice from the people menu. What they say to you in words and actions is also what you say to yourself when they're not around. So you are constructed of the conversations that are in your life. And to a certain extent, you can design or define that mix, right? So stick with me a minute here. Keep that on the table and just push it to the side for a minute. In my late 30s, I married for a second time. My husband loved to sail, and he taught me, and I loved it too. We used to race on Texoma on someone else's boat once a week for years in your backyard here. When we could afford it, we took sailing vacations. Some of you are probably sailors or fishermen and love the outdoors, where weather just is, right? One time we were caught in a downpour, pulling into a dock on the Chesapeake, only to discover that the sole laundromat on the island, the reason for our stop, was on the other side of the little island. This was long before the internet could tell you exactly where things were, the hours of operation, and if there was a coffee bar. Our dirty laundry was in a big cotton laundry bag, getting wetter and heavier by the moment in the downpour as we stood on the dock, contemplating a long walk. So we set out across country in our yellow sailing boots to find the laundromat and get cleaned up and dry. It was a long slog through fields and mud puddles, fighting blowing rain, passing that laundry bag back and forth that was getting wetter and heavier. 40 minutes later, we found the laundromat with 2 people other than us already waiting in line for the only working washer. You get the picture, right? I've told that story many times, and about the people we met waiting in line, about the coffee shop that was next door, and a dinner that we had that night in a little ma and pa cafe back closer to our boat. In my retelling, it turns into an adventure, a bold journey across that little island to a haven of warmth and electricity and a washer and dryer waiting for our dirty clothes. To tell you the truth, it changed into an adventure just about the time my yellow boots hit the muddy field outside of town. I've been practicing making life an adventure as soon as I can for years. You should hear my other sailing stories. I've been practicing talking about what I love about my life. So find a pencil and a piece of paper somewhere close to you. Don't go look. Or just listen and enjoy this piece. My long ago ex came over to make a budget for my daughter's household. He's really awful with the computer, but he persisted. He's still keeping promises we made to each other in 1965. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
For about a year and a half, every night, I post a list to Facebook that says, these 5 things made me happy today. It's made a huge difference, so I want to do this experiment with you. Sometimes what makes me happy is having lunch with my grandkids. They were here today. It's a weekday, and we made eggs. Had about 8 eggs in a little tiny skillet. You really have to pay attention when you're cooking like that. We had eggs and bacon and pan toast. And really, what could be better? In the middle of a weekday, your grandma makes it for you. You sit down at the table that her mother brought home when she was 4, so that darn table is more than 70 years old. And we talked about all of that while we ate lunch. That made me happy. There's a little anole that lives in my backyard. An anole is kind of a chameleon-like thing, and this little guy is about 4 inches long. And bright chartreuse green. It's a beautiful color. Unless he's scared. If he's scared, he's brown. And this little guy is used to my being around, and we commune sometimes in the backyard. Sometimes for quite a while, like today, and he stays green for the whole time. We're getting to be pals. And sometimes I put lemons in my drink every morning. I have a drink for breakfast, and the way they smell makes me happy, the way they look makes me happy, the way they taste makes me happy. I just like them. So I've got a 2-part exercise for you. Part 1 is think about what makes you happy. It can be anything. It can be today. It can be any day. Doesn't matter. And number 2 is I want you to ask someone that you know or not what makes them happy. Maybe somebody's in the house with you today. Maybe you're in a hotel and there's somebody outside. Maybe somebody you see in a store. What makes you happy? What makes you happy? It's really easy. That's all there is. What makes you happy? Ask someone else what makes them happy. If we were here in real time, I'd ask you to report back, but you're on your own. What made you happy today?
Hey, come again now, yes. Hey, yes, it's true, there's some things I don't understand, but I still need love, 'cause I'm just a man. My life never seems to go to plan. I don't want you to leave, won't you hold my hand? So won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need. This is love, it's clear to see. So won't you stay with me? Why am I so emotional? They say it's not good, need some self-control. Deep down I need this thing to work. I don't want you to leave so it doesn't hurt. So won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need. This is love, is clear to see. So won't you stay with me? Oh. Oh, won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need. This is love, is clear to see. So won't you stay with me?
From a few months ago. I'm seeing several new people who are listing at night. You know, listening when you're sailing means leaning over while continuing to move in the desired direction. Think about it. That makes me happy. So, to wrap things up, this is what I write almost every Sunday night. Church. I cried through all the music, including the hymns I sang. I think you get the picture. So Eric Folkerth, a friend of mine who's the minister at Kessler Park United Methodist Church, wrote this. You have a strength you don't realize yet. Your heart contains hidden rooms filled with justice for the vulnerable, courage for your own moments of weakness, and compassion for all of humanity. Trust that this is so, that it is a deep spiritual truth of life, even on days when it does not feel that it is so. Eric says, 2020 is a horrible year. We don't need to recount the specifics. You're living it. One key to surviving it all, which I feel a special call to remind you about often, is to recenter yourself in silence, meditation, or prayer, however you conceive of those things. Only when we quiet the raging voices can we see past them to the hidden reservoirs already present that we will all need in the coming months. Eric says, in a recent week, I suggested these ending months of 2020 may be like none in our history. It may well get worse before it gets better. When it does, read those first 3 sentences over and over again. Here they are. You have a strength you don't realize yet. Your heart contains hidden rooms filled with justice for the vulnerable, courage for your own moments of weakness, and compassion for all of humanity. Trust that this is so. It is a deep spiritual truth of life, even on days when it does not feel that it is so. Trust that love creates more love. Compassion creates more compassion. Justice seeking creates courage, and those secret rooms will appear and unlock just when you need them. MarySue here. That's my secret power. What do you love about your life? What makes you happy? See, it's right there, as close as a touch, as refreshing as a breath of air, as moving as nature ever gets. What do you love about your life? Offer you this benediction from Daniel Cantor, my minister at First Unitarian of Dallas. Go in peace, walk softly on your path, and may God shine on you all the days of your life. Be well. Keep going. Remember your superpower. See you next time.
Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long, and we can bend it with justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to comfort injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we transform our lives. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. The words will be on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we are together again.
Hello, my Red River UU friends. It's Mark Davies, and I am looking forward to being with you again next Sunday, when I will be speaking on the topic, A Land Ethic, the Importance of Soil. Sometimes when we think about soil, we think of it simply as being dirt, but we know that it is a rich and diverse resource that is so important for the flourishing of both the human and the ecological community. And we also know that soil degradation is one of the most pressing ecological challenges facing us in the 21st century. The good news is that there are a number of fun and healthy and cooperative things that we can do together to regenerate the soil, and we will be exploring those next Sunday.